Halo 2 is one of the first PC games that exclusively runs on Windows Vista. And as crazy as it sounds, it's actually a game from 2004. It originally came out on the Xbox, where it was a wildly huge, unqualified success.
You told me there wouldn't be any cameras.
You told me you were gonna wear something nice.
Here on the PC, the stakes are a little bit different, and a 2004 game in 2007 doesn't hold up quite as well. The single-player campaign will take most players under 10 hours to get through, but it does have its big set pieces that are dramatic and exciting. The plot is kind of all over the place. You have a couple unsatisfying boss fights, a couple of big plot twists that we won't spoil here, even though they were all over everywhere 3 years ago, so chances are you probably know exactly what's going to happen in the game. But if you don't, we'll keep it spoiler-free for you. Where Halo 2 really stands out and why it's still so popular on the Xbox after all these years is in its multiplayer. It's a 16-player first-person shooter with a lot of the same options you would expect a first-person shooter to have online. It has its deathmatch, which we call Slayer, but many of the games are team-based. You have Capture the Flag, team variants of King of the Hill. There are also variants inside of those game types, so if you want to have a deathmatch where everyone only has a rocket launcher or everyone has a shotgun and a sniper rifle, you can set that up as well. There are a lot of these variants that are built in, but you can actually go in and customize ones yourself and save them under names and do all kinds of stuff like that. The multiplayer options are kind of a weird mix of what worked back on the Xbox and kind of standard PC conventions. Halo 2 and the Xbox had a matchmaking system that would let you get into a game with similarly skilled players relatively easily, whereas the PC version has a server browser, which is pretty much standard for PC first-person shooters and is actually the fastest way to get into a game. Halo 2 has some pretty exciting multiplayer, though it's actually a lot slower paced, a little more methodical than what you might expect from a PC first-person shooter. And that makes the game a little more tactical. Are you going to throw grenades at the guy? Are you going to try and take him out with one of your two weapons? Or are you just going to run up and bash him in the face with your gun? That's what makes it satisfying and why it's gone on to become such a big hit with tournaments. But a lot of that is marred on the PC because of the controller options. When it comes to games that are games for Windows certified like Halo 2 is, the games have to support the Xbox 360 controller. Of course, you do get the mouse and keyboard option as well, which is how PC players would typically want to play their first-person shooters. But when you play with a gamepad, you can turn up the sensitivity to make the turning speed a little more in line with what you're going to need to play successfully. And on top of that, anyone playing with a gamepad gets auto-aim, which was found in the console version of the game and made sense there. But here, it's an unfair advantage, because when you get up close to someone, it'll kind of snap to your target, and if they jump up, it'll follow them up, and that's pretty bad. It creates a pretty unbalanced playing field where the people with the gamepads might almost do a little bit better, because the melee attacks and close-up shotgun blasts and stuff are going to be a lot easier to land because the game does have to think it for you. That's a really weird design choice that really does stick out and kind of gets in the way of the enjoyment of the multiplayer. One of the other things that Games for Windows Live brings over from the Xbox 360 is the concept of achievement points. How Halo 2 uses them is for completing each one of the game's levels, you'll get some points there, and there are a lot of multiplayer achievements as well for running someone over or carjacking them, things of that nature. The other big additions that you'll get over the Xbox version are, of course, crisper graphics. The game will run in much higher resolutions, but it's still kind of polishing up graphics that were, state-of-the-art back in 2004. So even at its highest resolution with everything turned on, it still doesn't look anywhere close to what a modern PC game would look like in 2007. In addition to that, there's also a map maker that ships with the game, so PC users can make their own maps and distribute those to other players and play those online, which is a pretty cool addition if you're into that sort of thing.
Of the truth, this has gone on long enough.
The standards for first-person shooters on the PC are just higher, and a 3-year-old console game just isn't going to cut it in today's first-person shooting market. So Halo 2 feels like it's a little bit left out in the cold because of that stuff. And on top of that, the controller imbalances between the gamepad and the mouse and keyboard stuff make it kind of a bummer for anyone who's looking to get into competitive multiplayer on the PC as well.
Tell that to the Covenant.